All right.
Hello, everybody. We're back in track. I think we're good now. We had some technical difficulties. Um, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to read that. I'll get that for you in a second, because now it's a different feed. We had some technical difficulties. We didn't know where we were and where we were getting some sound. But uh, Marcus Eaton's our special guest. Welcome to the
How are you guys?
show.
Great to see you again.
I mean, what a career you've had as a young musician already, playing with David Crosby. I
Oh,
mean,
thanks, man. Well, I keep going for it, you know?
put that on
It's,
your resume.
yeah, absolutely.
So let's start with that, because a lot of folks were asking about it. How did that get? How did that start?
Well, we met through a friend of mine, and it's kind of a long story how it happened, but I'll reference people to the clip that we just did together because I give like a more in-depth
Yeah.
version of this on your show. So basically, I was out playing with a really great guitarist friend of mine named Tim Reynolds. I was opening for him, and this guy saw my show and approached me afterwards and invited me to play his Christmas party later that year because he really liked my set. And then, when I played his party, he said, I should introduce you to David Crosby. He's a friend of mine. And I just thought, what? How was that possible? And anyway, he arranged this dinner with us, which happened months later, and we really hit it off. And it was incredible that we hit it off as much as we did because I didn't really expect anything. And he said, here, take my number.
And
A
musically,
couple
you
months
two
later,
were really in sync
yeah.
too.
Say that again?
You two were really in sync with the kind of music you like too.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. We were both listening to Esperanza Spalding at the time, and he asked me what I was listening to, and I said, oh, I'm listening to Esperanza Spalding, and he's just like, oh my God, I love her, and he just started freaking out. So we started talking about that, and that's really where we hit it off. And then eventually he came through the place where I used to live in Idaho called Boise, and he said, hey, I want to hear what you're working on, and I played him one of my songs, and he flipped out. So that was the beginning, and then he invited me to play on his album. I mean, that's a very condensed version of it, but kind of miraculous that it worked out,
You and I were talking before about it, the fact that there's this unspoken rule in music that you don't either drop the name unless you know it's going to happen for sure, because a lot of
Yeah,
these things fall through, right?
absolutely. Yeah, that happened to me because I think I was telling you that I didn't tell anybody in my family really that I was going to go in the studio with him because I was so afraid it wasn't going to happen because it just seemed like pie in the sky, And in fact, even after we started working on the album, it took 3 years. So I had friends being like, "Is this ever going to come out, dude? Did you actually do anything?" And is this is that type of thing? Like, oh yeah, well these elusive tapes, because 3 years is a pretty long time to work on an album these days, So eventually it came out, and then they believed me, so that's good.
And then let's close that. Well, you can't close the chapter because it's such a long chapter in your life,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
But the film, that was
yes.
uncanny how that came together with your brother.
Yeah, it's been really an incredible ride because then, when I was working in the studio with Crosby, I introduced him to my brother AJ, and he came in, and they totally hit it off. And my brother filmed a series of interviews that became these vignettes for Rolling Stone, and basically they kept talking about like a documentary, and I was really pushing the buttons. I was telling my brother like, oh my God, this would be so cool, and I was also at the same time telling Crosby how cool it would be. And eventually my brother, really put some effort into this, and he met with Cameron Crowe because a producer friend of his introduced the two. And when they met about it, and I was there for that meeting.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you very much. How long have you been playing guitar?
Thank you, guys. Sorry, you slowed down just for a second there.
We're having
I've
major
been
technical problems, by the way. I'm not sure what's
oh,
going
okay.
on. The internet
Oh,
has been acting up a little bit, and so
funky.
yeah. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, we'll just keep going. I'll react as soon as I can. But I've been playing since I was 9. So I've been playing. I had some piano lessons before that, and my dad's a musician, and my grandparents were both opera singers. So they were, my grandma was teaching me piano when I was really young, and it was mostly just for fun. We'd play chopsticks together. I learned Somewhere Over the Rainbow. That was pretty exciting. So, but I just, started getting into my dad's guitar case, and basically after that, it was just like I was so enamored with the guitar, and they got me one for Christmas, and I was just like, it was off to the races from there, So.
What about your dad? Tell the audience a little bit about your dad, because he's was in the music industry.
Yeah, and you were talking about Toto earlier, which is funny because actually Steve Lukather and that whole section, Lee Sklar, Russ Kunkel, and those guys, they all played on my dad's records. So my dad's name is Steve Eaton. He was signed to Capitol back in the 70s, but before that he had a band called Fat Chance. And those are other, actually that's a really good album, this band called Fat Chance that he had before then. But he's just an amazing singer-songwriter, and actually the Carpenters and Art Garfunkel and Anne Murray all recorded his songs. I know Anne Murray's a Canadian, so you probably know her stuff. He had a song called Out on the Road, and that's his song. And then, Glenn Campbell recorded one called Ragdoll, and that was also on the Breakaway album, Art Garfunkel, and the Righteous Brothers did that as well. And then also, the Carpenters recorded the last hit before Karen died called All You Get From Love Is a Love Song. So that was a song that my dad wrote. So he's a really prolific, amazing songwriter, So yeah, it's pretty cool that I got to grow up in a place with him and a recording studio and all of that,
Well, because of his background, was there a part of him that he was a little leery that you get, or was he just a cheerleader all the way? How did that go when he knew you were that serious?
He's always been like, man, go to school, go to don't do what I do, that type of thing. And he was really hounding me for a couple of years, like big time, just like, man, you need to go to school, you need to do this. And I was just like, it was just so obvious it was never going to happen. I love I love education. It has nothing to do with that. It just, what happened for me was just my own unique story. But I applied for school and I got a little music scholarship, and it was like, it was just enough to buy a couple books. It was kind of pathetic, but I went to Boise State University, and I enrolled in these guitar classes, and that was part of my curriculum because I wanted to get a degree, probably in music. I wasn't decided yet, but I was just taking my classes, and so went in with this guitar teacher who could never remember my name. He called me Jeffrey every time, and he was just like, hey, he was like Harry Carey. He'd go, hey, Jeff, hey, welcome to class, Jeff. And I'm like, I'm Marcus. Oh yeah, okay, Anyways, the same thing every week. And he'd hand me like tab, and he'd be like, hey, take this home. And it'd be like, I just have to learn something like that, which, it's great music, but okay, great. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I want to learn some stuff. So he never remembered my name. At the end of the semester, he gave me a C in guitar. And I was just like, you know what? I may be a C geology student, but I'll be damned if I'm a C guitarist. This is bullshit. So, I don't know if I can say that.
You can't.
But anyway, I just said no way. So I just, I may not seem like it, but I'm actually pretty rebellious against stuff like that. I'm just like, no, I'm not going back to that. I'm just not going to be. I'm not going to be a C guitarist. So.
Tell us about the May 22nd. We've got all the links.
Yes.
I guess not on this video because we've had to reboot, and we'll put them on after this video is over. Everything like we did with the last video when we talked about David Crosby. But May 22nd, tell us about the fruition of how this all started for this EP.
Well, I have a really interesting, album called Invisible Lines, and I feel, I may have told you this before, but I just feel like these are the perfect songs for this moment that we're in. None of us could have predicted this strangeness that we're in with this virus, but these songs are, the album title Invisible Lines is about erasing boundaries between people through technology, because it seems to me that the smaller the world gets, the harder it is to make somebody into your enemy, and that's kind of the idea of the song, where now it's like, in the past, I think government could say, well, we're going to attack people over in Kazakhstan. And you'd go, oh, okay, and then they would try to convince you that these people are totally different than you and, blah, blah, blah. But now that can't happen anymore. The world's too small. We talk to each other on video chat. We have friends all over the world. And so it was kind of the album title was sort of exploring this idea, invisible lines can't be divided by invisible lines, which meant geographic boundaries, So it's a collection of 6 songs, and basically it started right here where I'm sitting, because I write the songs and then I actually record them. This is one of the first albums I've kind of done alone. I have a friend that's an engineer. He came over and helped me with some vocals and stuff, but for the most part it was just me sitting here. So that's pretty cool. Actually, it's another cool aspect to the album. And I recorded almost everything here except for the drums. But the songs are just really, they're really what I want to say to the world. I'm really proud of the ideas behind the songs, and I think that they're affecting people right here, on an emotional level. And part of the thing with my style of music is that, the playing.
We should be on now again.
Right. Okay.
And it's strange. We're in our basement where the modem is. The modem is like 20 feet from it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So.
Do you have your computer hardwired to the modem?
No.
That's the trick. You got to get that Cat 5 cable going. That's the thing that I learned a few weeks ago doing these live streams, is that the audio was skipping a lot. So this guy called me up who was a technician. He's like, you got to plug it into the modem. So
we're gonna have to figure out how to do it, because the MacBook doesn't have one of those thingamajiggies. But there's probably an adapter.
That's right. Yeah, you need the dongle.
Is that what it's called?
There's a whole joke about
this whole thing's just turned into Tech Talk with Marcus Eaton.
Hey guys, okay, let me just go through this with you.
Reboot.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Anyway, I'm kind of curious. Okay, if someone doesn't know your name, and somehow a friend of a friend got you in a room, aren't they pleasantly surprised when you start playing and singing? I mean, you must have run into situations, or else I wasn't familiar with your work, and then I started going back, and I went, oh, I've heard a few of these songs, but because you do the work, all of a sudden people's mouths will drop now and then. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, well, it's one of these things where I don't know. I've been at this for a really long time, and my first album, I did my first album when I was 19, which is quite a few years ago now. But I feel like I've always been kind of on the same track, but I'm not pure pop, And I know you relate to this because you're a music lover. And when things are pure pop, we've gone through so many different iterations in the past couple of years, but I kind of feel like there actually is a lot of really good music right now, but it sort of gets buried in the pop world, meaning that the pop occupies so much of people's oxygen space that the really good stuff just kind of goes unnoticed, it slips under the radar. Every once in a while something will squeeze through, but I don't know, to me, I think what I'm doing is still pretty unique, and so I'm still trying to get it out there, and so I love surprising people, I love when I can sit down and they're like, oh my God, I love getting that emotional connection with people. That's what we all live for, as musicians. But to me, like I was telling you before, I think when I was younger, it was just it's about fun, and it was about playing too, but now I'm really realizing how important it is to have that emotional connection musically, and the songs on the new album I think are much more emotionally connected, also because of the mixes of the song. My friend that mixed this album did such an amazing job, and the first time it came back to me that he did the mix, and it got back to me and he sent it, and I was like, oh my God, I actually felt the emotion of the song again. So that was pretty powerful for me too.
Before we get to another song, is sequence important to you as far as sequencing the album and what song goes where?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's really important because, the album sequence is so powerful because of how it, where you want to take people and where you want to leave them, So for me, I love albums for that very reason, because it's like I'm the type of person that wants to listen to an album all the way through. And I also listen to a lot of artists that have albums, like they have a vision and there's a theme and there's textures that happen, and maybe they start in one spot, then they take you and it kind of apexes, and maybe it comes back down, and then at the end they hit you with something else. So it's all kind of about a flow, and this one has a cool flow to it too, because it's 3 acoustic tracks and 3 band tracks. And so I feel like that kind of takes you on this awesome little journey, you know, and hopefully it leaves you feeling good.
Let's hear another song.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple choices. I can play Handed Down, or I can play Closer.
I'd love Handed Down.
Handed Down? Okay. All right. This is called Handed Down. Symmetry, scale of dreams, bursting seams, limitless gravity, still holding hands while making plans. Sweet caress, you tried it on before. You always want some more. Make the best of what we found, from what we've been handed down, from what we've been handed down. Melody, the sounds of spring, birds on wing, limitless entity that we live on, the breaking dawn, short of breath. You tried it on before. You always want some more. We'll make the best of what we found, from what we've been handed down, from what we've been handed down. Born into when the truth is rarely recognized. Who of us does the talking? In whose footsteps are we walking? All this time made no sense. The world's immense. We assume that we are tied, and we're side by side in this place where there's still room. You tried it on before. You always want some more. We'll make the best of what we found, from what we've been handed down, from what we've been handed down, from the world we've been handed down. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Woo.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I've got a question here from Joseph.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know where you live, but he says, and I do. You're in LA, but
Yes.
Joseph asked, have you ever run into not necessarily the Disney types, because some of those can really sing, right?
Yeah.
But have you ever run into people throughout your career who really think they're amazing, and you just kind of go,
Yeah, yes, every day, every day. I mean, in LA, it's just it's a mixed bag, and it's like I'm understanding that everybody wants to do their thing, but everybody's motivated for different reasons, and there's so many people that are just motivated by just like, I just want to be famous. I'm ready to be famous. Just take my picture, and it's just like, then what? Then what's going to happen after you're famous, I mean, so there's so much of that in the music business, and it's turned into, unfortunately, it's like, I really wish people could actually be just listening to music sometimes instead of videos, because it would totally change the whole nature of what we listen to. You would listen and be like, oh my God, this girl is amazing. It wouldn't be about being a supermodel or dancing on the beach. It just has nothing to do with that. And people forget that music is its own art form, video is its own art form, and the two have just been, it's such a multimedia world now. So there's so much of the Disney things happening, and I hear songs and I'm just like, oh my God, this is terrible, and it's on the radio.
And one thing, and don't get me wrong, some singers are good at it, but there's one thing that drives me crazy is when singers kind of sound like this. They all have this thing. They kind of sound. I'm going, when did that start? When did people start singing like that?
I kind of have this theory that, like, I think what happened actually is that the music business started turning really corporate. And, it started a while ago, but it was probably, between 10 and 15 years ago, it started to get really corporate. Then what happened is they started putting out music that was more corporatized, and it was just like, we're going to get everybody to like this song, So they made these things really simple, but then artists started to imitate that because they go, oh, it's popular. And, the truth is, people are full of fear. It's just exactly like Spinal Tap. They have this thing that goes, jazz music is music about fear. And he's like, what are you so afraid of? You can't bloody hear it, And basically, the point is about this fear situation, to me, is that people are afraid to do what's really unique to them because they don't fit anymore. And for me, I lost that a long time ago because I never had it. I never wanted to be like, I want to fit in. I'm really making music. I have music that I love. I have people that I've taken things from them and emulated them in my own way. Everybody's done that, but it's always come out sounding like me, and I've just tried to remain true to that, And I think not enough people do that because they're afraid of not being successful. That's the problem,
A lot of campfire songs, a lot of when Queen released "We Are the World," that's an anthem campfire song, I call them, where people hold hands, they can all sing it together, or hockey songs that they play, but they became. Like I said, when Queen did it, they were one of the few people who were doing it. Now everyone's doing that sort of thing with the technology of today, and it's really
it's all
singing like this anyway.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of those singers too that are like the girl folk singers that are doing that. Yeah. It's just, oh man.
That was beautiful, man. I love you, man. That was beautiful.
I know. I could go crazy on it. But, the thing is, like, again, I mean, everybody has these different levels. But the truth is, it's just really saturated right now because of technology as well. Everybody can record an album at home. And so, there's just all these things where, I have a couple young artists that have asked me, like, dude, when do I get a manager and a booking agent, man? And I'm just like, dude, you don't even have any songs yet. You need to get songs, you need to write some songs, work on your guitar, learn how to sing, then worry about the manager, Everybody's just, it's so weird right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they want to be famous. Shannon's got some questions.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Marcus, who are some of your favorite acoustic guitar players who are fairly well known?
Well, when I started out, it was kind of funny because I love playing electric too. Nobody really knows that, but I was obsessed with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix in particular, and I love that stuff. But then, in the 90s, there was acoustic stuff that started happening, which is also sort of relative to the technology, because people could actually, for the first time, plug their guitar in it and it didn't sound completely terrible, you know. So like Dave Matthews came out, and he was like one of the first guys that was sort of playing this kind of acoustic funk stuff. And I started listening to that, just going, wow, it's a really interesting concept, but it's not unlike Sting, but it was steel string, it wasn't nylon string, you know. So I really liked that because I love the percussive quality of the acoustic, and so I started listening to that. He plays with a guy named Tim Reynolds, who's just an incredible guitarist, and I'm really lucky because I've gotten to play with him for a long time, since I was 20. So he and I are pals now, but he's like one of the best acoustic guys there is. I mean, he plays everything, but he's just a total badass. Then I was listening to this guy, Billy McLaughlin, who's now also my friend, but, you know, he does like, you know, the two-handed tapping stuff.
I remember him from he used to be on the Narada label.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
out of
right.
Milwaukee. Yeah.
And what's awesome is that he and I have actually become friends within the past few weeks. So I'm really thrilled about that. He came through my little town in Pocatello when I was like 16, you know, and he was a big influence. So I love him. And then, you know, through that, he's kind of a Michael Hedges guy.
Yeah.
I listened to that. Of course, you know, being around Crosby, then there's all these other cross sections that come in, because then you've got Stephen Stills, and, you know, I mean, there's a lot of really great guitarists right now, but acoustic oriented guys, I mean, there's some classic dudes. There's also a guy that I'm really into named Vicente Amigo. That's a really badass flamenco guy. Paco de Lucia, Al Di Meola. You know, there's different people that do all these different things, you know. There's some guys that are more songwriter-oriented. It's simpler, but it's really good. And then there's guys that are just like the crazy great guitarists, you know. So I'm like all over the spectrum. I love it all.
When you were talking about all the guitarists, it made me think about something that I almost mentioned a while ago, which was Bruce Hornsby, when he released Spirit Trail, when he started getting to the jazzy blues stuff.
Yeah.
Came into the studio, and I said, well, you practice like 10 hours a day sometimes. And he was doing that back then. I'm not sure if he still does it. I said, well, how do you feel about, you know, having an artist who's been maybe singing for 6 months? And he said, the charts aren't for me anymore. And they stopped being about him at that point. And he said, if you're good at sports, you're almost certainly guaranteed to be a millionaire if you're great at a sport and put that much work that I put in.
Right.
And I'd never heard it. I mean, many have said that since.
Right.
But when you're doing the work in a particular genre and you're guaranteed to be paid off for it, but music's not like that.
No. I've said to people, it's like going to college, you know, and people are like, yeah, you'll get a degree eventually. It doesn't mean anything, you know. You're just eventually like, okay, well, I think I've passed the point of that. You know, it's just, the thing is, there's so many rewards involved in it, and it's like the more you, I don't know, I think that sometimes, I was talking about the fame thing, and, you know, the fact of the matter is, these days, actually, it's reverse of how it used to be. This is my theory. It's like back in the day, you would have this arc. As your popularity grew, your fame grows, and it's just a byproduct of your talent, you know. And if people could help promote you, then you would get there, and you have fame and you have talent. But fame's not the goal. It's just a byproduct of being well known and having your music well known. Now it's like you have to have some fame in order to keep the arc going up, because if you don't, you're not in the public sphere. And if you don't have enough followers and if you don't have enough fame, people think you suck. I mean, I know some of the best guitarists in the world, they have like 1,000 people that follow them on Instagram. They have hardly anybody. And you just go like, wow, you know. Anyway, I still think, regardless, like extremely talented people, I think, are really rare. I'm talking about like people that can really write a song, really play, and really sing. That's still a rare thing, that triple threat thing. You know, there's not too many of those, I don't think.
Do you have questions?
I've got a bunch more questions, so let me just get through
please.
for you.
Sorry, I'm a long-winded answerer.
All good. Marcus, do you have any formal music training, or is it just a wonderful gift, your talent?
Well, I don't have any technically formal training. I enrolled in some classical lessons when I was younger because I wanted to learn how to read music, and my parents enrolled me and the only guy that taught guitar lessons in my town was a classical guy. And he was really cool. I had a lot of fun, but eventually he was just like, you know what? You're learning so quickly that this is just kind of a waste of your time, you know? He's like, I can't teach you as fast as you can learn, so just go have fun, you know? And he's like, if you really want to learn how to play classical guitar and read, you know, classical pieces, come back to me. But I did. I went back for a few lessons, but I didn't have any formal training. And I did have a gift, I will say. I mean, I really felt like I already knew how to do it when I started playing. I mean, I really did. But that being said, I've also really pushed myself to take the next step. And so if I'm ever feeling stagnant, it's just endless. It's endless. There's always stuff that I want to learn. So every day I'm doing something to improve my technique or learn something new. So.
Okay.
Another question here. Marcus, I've seen you play a few different guitars. What kind are you playing tonight?
Oh, all right. This is a guitar that's made by a friend of mine named Roy McAllister. This is my number one, you know, kind of the be all end all guitar. And Roy, I got one of these as a gift from Crosby. He actually had a McAllister made for me. And that was just like the most tremendous thing because I played, you know, his guitar on the album, and he came in one day and he said, "Man, you really like that guitar, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's kind of weird. It's kind of like somebody really liking your wife a lot." And I said, okay, I'll put it down, you know. And no, he was joking around with me. But anyway, he actually had one of these made for me. And this guy became my friend. His name's Roy McAllister. And he took me over to Italy for my first time to this guitar event. And he made me that other guitar. I don't have it here right now. And he said, "Man, you know, if I had seen you play, I would have made you something totally different." So we discussed the concept of this guitar. It was cutaway, the wood choice, you know, made for traveling and so that it doesn't, you know, go up and down with different climates. The top, everything, the carved top. I mean, the guy's a master luthier. And he made it for me. And a couple of years later, he was just like, "Hey, man, I've got this guitar for you." And now he's made it into a signature model Marcus Eaton guitar, which is really cool. So you can get one of these with my name on it if you want. And then I have a bunch of electrics. I have this one that my other friend made for me behind me. I'll play that later, but it's called a Rock Bridge. Another beautiful, beautiful handmade guitar. He makes guitars for Dave Matthews, and he's made guitars for everybody, but that's a really cool, unique guitar as well. I have like 17 guitars here, so that's a lot, isn't it?
How about Closer? By the way, folks, the new album, the new EP is Invisible Lines, May 22nd. On that date, we'll have a track by track where Marcus will talk about every song, and you'll hear snippets of every song, which we do on our sister channel, which is Rock History Book. But we'll put a link to it and we'll let people know on this channel as well as soon as it's available.
Yeah. Now, will I have time for one more song before we wrap up? Because there's one I definitely want to play at the end. Of course.
We can run a little longer.
Yeah, okay, because there's one I want to play for you. All right, this is called Closer. This is off the new album. One heartbeat away, while the wind is growing strong, you think, where did I go wrong anyway? What is really left to say? If we cannot possess the loving we express, you are closer than anyone. How far can we run? Parallel, closer yet, look how far we've gone. Love should be the sum of every coin we've thrown into the wishing well. Ooh. From this place we must fled. Expectations high as we're born into the sky. One step closer to it. Who is left to trust? Is it yourself or the gust that brings you closer yet further than anyone? How far can we run? Parallel, closer yet look how far we've come. Love should be the sum of every coin we've thrown into the wishing well. Shadows fall upon the windows of your heart. Winter's building in your soul. Seems impossible to tell seasons apart. I know exactly which way the weather's going to go. Closer, look how far we've gone. How far that we were. Parallel. We get closer. We get closer. Closer. All the time.
Very, very nice. One of my faves, man. That was amazing. That was really cool. Tell me about
Thank
the song. Tell me about the inspiration behind it.
Well, Closer is kind of interesting because it's kind of like a love song, but it's a little bit more complex than a love song. I was inspired by this long distance relationship that I was in, and it felt like we were thousands of miles apart, but it felt like we were right next to each other. And then I've had the opposite experience where you're standing next to the person and you feel like you may as well be 2,000 miles away, you know. So it's kind of inspired by that idea and the fact that some people just, you get into a relationship and you never really know how long it's supposed to last. You don't know anything about it. You just try to grow parallel. And so that's the line about running parallel. And even if it's not meant to last forever, it doesn't mean it can't be wonderful, you know, for that amount of time. So, you know, I'm not married yet, so there's another factor. But, you know, anyway, I think it's a nice sentiment, you know.
She's got some.
I have someone that just chimed in and said,
Yeah.
Dang, love the sound of the guitar on that song, and your singing is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
Very
guys,
nicely
whoever
done.
said that.
Very nice.
It's that one's pretty complex. It's hard to play and sing that at the same time. You have to practice it a lot because it's a lot of moving, and it's easier for me to stand up and play it because of the angle guitar. So sometimes just to play it right, you kind of have to sit in a weird position.
I remember Rick Emmett of Triumph years ago telling me, he says, you know, the power trio, being the lead guitarist and the singer. And he says, biggest, I forget what he said, but he says, I'm amazed by how many people don't realize how incredibly hard that is. You know,
Yeah.
to pick
Yeah,
and
and
to
the more-
sing, because you sometimes pick and sing. You usually strum, but
Yeah. You're basically playing like a lead line the whole time, you know.
you
and
are,
in that song, it's interesting because my left hand's playing something different than my right hand, so it's
Yeah, in your case,
Takes
you are picking. Yeah, not like a
yeah,
power trios. They'd strum at that point, right? And then
yeah,
they do their solo.
right. Exactly.
You
Yep.
got some?
Yep.
So, what would be your dream collaboration, living or dead?
Oh,
Oh God, living
I'm
or
going to
dead.
put you on the spot
no
here.
kidding, eh?
There's Hendrix. I mean, I would love to do something. I mean, Hendrix would have been amazing. You know, I'm sure Bach would have been amazing too, but I think he's on a completely different level than I am. So, you know, that's a whole different ballgame. That would be amazing. The other person that would be cool, let's see, living. I'd love to do something with Peter Gabriel. I think that would be amazing because I just think his concept is so interesting. And of course, I think Sting has always done amazing stuff. And
Which you just recorded.
yeah, I recorded one of his songs on this album, Fragile, which is a really popular song of his. So yeah.
Actually, Noreen, before the interview, had told me she had asked, she says, why did you pick that song?
You know, it was kind of actually a suggestion of a friend. I sat down and he loves Sting, and so he was kind of messing around on the guitar and he was playing Fragile, and I said, here, let me, you know, I have a version of that, and I played it for him. He's like, dude, you got to record that because that should be in a film. You know, your version of that should be in a film. And I was like, that's a cool idea. I've never really considered. I've thought about doing a couple covers. I did one cover of a Crosby song. You know, I did this song of his called Bittersweet, and it came out so cool and it was so unique, and I thought, wow. And it kind of turned me on to the idea of maybe actually doing something in the studio instead of live, you know, in the studio of somebody else's tune. And I'd played Fragile since I was younger, and anyway, I did this version and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And it sat for a while, actually. I had it done. And then as I was working on this album, I was kind of whittling the songs down, and I was like, oh my God, Fragile would be the perfect track for the end of this. And it just fit perfectly. The theme fit, the timing, the production, everything about it. I just thought, nah, this is perfect. You know, got to do it. So I went for it.
Someone had said, I really love the story of Now.
Oh yeah, that's another one of my albums and another song too. But yeah, Story of Now, it's kind of a powerful reggae song about, you know, it applies to right now too, even though it's older. It's actually current, the Story of Now, you know.
Well, and that's a cool thing when that happens, when you
Yeah,
get
I love that.
still having that omnipotent sort of, you know, this theme that lasts forever in multiple, you know, in multiple spheres. Do you have any?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you planning to tour in the future? I mean, I know where
Definitely.
things are at right now, but if so, what areas were you thinking of in the future?
Well, I mean, it's so ironic because the situation we're in, I feel like everything's like ramping up for me at the wrong time, you know, because we're like, well, can't do anything now. But by the time we get out of this, I mean, I've been focusing a lot on Europe because I've been the people over there are just so open-minded to music, and Germany, Italy, UK, and somewhat over in, you know, just a couple other little locations there. But I am actually a dual citizen now. I have my Italian citizenship, which means I'm a citizen of Europe as well. So I plan on touring a lot there. I'd love to do a bunch of stuff here in the U.S. I'd love to make it up to Canada. I've played up there a few times, but I'd really love to come see you guys. And, man, I want to go everywhere. I want to go everywhere I can possibly go that people want to listen. Yeah, I mean, touring that's where it's at. Playing for people is amazing.
How's the music? How's the reception in Italy?
Italy's amazing because there's a very long history of all sorts of kind of little intersections of art, but one of them is that people love acoustic guitars there, and the background of acoustic guitars is related to the background of acoustic instruments in general in Cremona in Italy, where they make, you know, where they Stradivarius violins were made there. And so that art of making violins in Luthery applies to guitars as well. So they love acoustic guitar, and they love songwriters. They love good music. They actually have more of a clue about English music, English-speaking music, because I also include the music of Britain. They know all about it, and they know the whole history of it. They love the Beatles. They love the Clash. They love Hendrix, all of that. They know all of that music, and so when you go over there, it's like, especially as an American, they're kind of like, wow, okay, this guy's he's an actual English speaker. They love it, and they know all these songs. So the reception is incredible. I love it.
I want to tell the folks who are watching Invisible Lines May
Yeah.
22nd on that very day on our sister site, and we lost our original feed. We had Marcus's all his links. We're going to put it on this feed after the video's finished because we're a little busy right now, and so that you can pre-order. Can you pre-order the album? Okay. It's only on vinyl, right? And downloads, right?
Yeah, you will be able to soon. So, it's been, again, this situation has made it a little bit funky because I had some other plans that can't happen now. I had a couple more videos that were going to come out first. But now this is really important music right now. I think, like I was telling you before, this fits the moment, and I think it's really important to get this to everybody, So it's always hard for musicians right now. Nobody really knows how to release their albums. That's the truth. It's just kind of like, well, you throw it against the wall and see what sticks. Sometimes you have a video that does really well. Sometimes you don't. You just put it out, and it's like Crosby says, holding up a paper airplane, throwing it off of a really tall building. You just never know where it's going to land, and who it's going to hit, and how it's going to hit people. So
we're going to have links to everything that all things Marcus Eaton. On the description of this video when we're finished, like I said, and we'll have a track by track on May 22nd when the album is finished, where Marcus will play snippets of the songs, and Marcus will talk about every single song as well. We'll put links to that in the description of this video when it's available, because we wouldn't release it before the album's released, because that's not cool. You just can't do that. I would not be cool. You said you want to play another song.
Yeah, I got one more for you here. I want you to... You've probably never heard this one, because this needs to be re-recorded, and I think I will re-record it this year. But this is actually probably my most popular song. It's called Fiona, and this is the one that I get Fiona? The most requests for live as well. So this is called Fiona. Across the ocean, by the sea, unsurpassed beauty, named Fiona Lee. It flows like water, and her eyes are ocean blue. Never dreamt of the day when she'd break my heart in two. Now I dance across the water, 'cause she brightens up my day. I have nothing left to offer, all my time slips away. I'll treat you just like a queen, Fiona. Open your eyes, 'cause they've never seen. First time I saw her, she danced across the stage. Right into my heart I said, I won't let her get away. Such a rare beauty, dance we are so free. Fell in love with Fiona, she fell in love with me. Now I dance across the water, just to hear her voice. I have nothing to offer, but I'll always have the choice. I'll treat you just like a queen, Fiona. Open your eyes, 'cause they've never seen. Want to take you with me when I'm leaving for my home. Please say you'll go with tried to fight it. From the dark she waved goodbye. As my ship set sail, I felt my soul begin to die. Thought I'd never see her again, till the day she came to me. She said, I love you so much. I sailed across the sea. She said, I've never loved another. And my heart began to rejoice. Then I remembered what I told her. She began to do my voice. I'll treat you just like a queen. Fiona, open your eyes, 'cause you've never seen.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Did people bug you in school because you had 40 fingers?
Yeah, well, nobody really knew that I played in school, you know, really. It was a weird school.
Really?
Weird town, weird people.
I've been walking in the room saying, by the way, I can play guitar really well. How you doing?
Yeah. They know now. They know.
Shannon's got some nice reactions.
Thanks, Marcus, for the wonderful time. So happy you gave your talents freely to us tonight. Wishing you tremendous success with the new music.
Oh, thank you. Hugs to whoever that was. Thank you so much.
May 22nd, Invisible Lines, brand new EP. And all the links will be put in the description of this video where you can contact, buy the album. We're just around the corner from the release. It's a weird time to release an album. Dennis DeYoung of Styx was doing all this press, by the way.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to get an interview, and all of a sudden this happened, and I'm going, now he's doing limited press because he's just going to send it out there. He doesn't know what to do. You know?
Yeah, we're all kind of in the same position, you know. But I feel that emotionally this is the right time to do it for sure. I mean, I kind of feel like this is the perfect moment, but you know, I just hope it finds the hearts of the right people.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys helping me get it to some more people. It's really, really sweet.
Yeah. Do you have any more, Shannon?
Again, just a lot of accolades, you know. Oh my gosh, you play so wonderfully.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we look forward to presenting the. I'm always excited about this when we present the track by track.
Too.
You know, and you've got some great stories to talk about that we didn't share tonight, but we don't want to give it all away. So May 22nd on Rock History Book, our sister station, slightly different logo than this one, but almost the same.
Yeah.
And we'll also, by the way, for folks who are watching, we also have another, I think, 3 parts of our series where we talk to you on our channel, which is something we're going to start doing. See, you're the type of artist that makes me do this. Usually it's taboo to have a classic rock channel and to put an artist that is an up and coming. I mean, David Crosby called you one of the biggest up and coming, most talented up and coming musicians in America, which was really nice, you know.
Yeah, very.
I mean,
very.
That's really the stuff you put up on top. That's important.
Yeah, it's we're all looking for. We're all looking for our own path. We're also needing validation from people like that because they're not going to be around forever, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then how will people know who to listen to? you know. No, but it is very important to
You're
get
very
that.
rock and roll.
Yeah, come on, man. You know, I am a rocker at heart too. You know, like just it's funny because the acoustic thing, it's sort of funny because like every once in a while, I have a friend that hired me to play, and I said, yeah, you know, I play electric. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah, dude. You know, and I played with him. He's like, I didn't know you played electric. And I was like, yeah. It's really funny.
Well, hey, listen, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. Sorry about the technical problems. It happens, but we'd love to
Great.
have you back on.
Oh, you guys are wonderful. Thanks so much, and thank you to everybody that tuned in too. That was really kind,
Yep.
really fun.
It was a lot of fun. Marcus, take care of yourself, man.
You too.
Okay, see
Thank
ya.
you very much,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Talk to you.
That was a lot of fun. It was really nice of him to do that. Sorry, folks, for the technical problems we had in the beginning. I'm just making sure that there we go. We're back on. Marcus is one of those artists that, like I said, it made me want to present his music because of how much I love what he's doing. And I mean, every rocker has had, you know, all the proggers have these pickers. Every prog band usually has one that can play acoustic guitar like nobody's business. And there's a part of classic rock that is this. And he is so, isn't he amazing? He's so great. And thanks I know every single person who is watching right now has found us again because there was no link. I mean, I know it might have come up on your feed. So thank you for the folks who came back and found it because our original feed, we were having so much technical problems. We weren't sure if it was from his end or our end, but it was wreaking havoc on us. And we were going, oh no. And Shannon wore her t-shirts.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway, if you want to pick up a t-shirt, there's links in the descriptions of almost every one of our videos. It won't be on this one. We'll put it on later. And speaking of the other channels we were talking about a while ago, Rock History Book will feature, and it's important for me to do this because I love Marcus's music so much, and I could listen to it over and over again. He has older music as well. But check out his website, marcuseaton.com. There'll be links in the description of this video. Once we're finished, we'll put the links in for you to check out any of his music. But he really is a winner, a guy who's really worked on his art, which still happens, of course. It still does. A lot of our classic rock bands and the newer ones that are coming up when they'll be classic one day, can really play as well. But then we're also having to deal with, you know, these singers who just started last week and somehow get a lucky bounce. Good for them, but the classic rockers don't always get the recognition they deserve. So I'm just going to look at some comments. Great live stream tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. Appreciate that. And we try to do this every week. We have someone that we have lined up for next week, has not confirmed, a person you all know very, very well. And for the next couple of weeks, we have some people, but they're just not confirmed because they're not sure how their lives are going to change. Like, let's just say we book someone for 3 weeks from now. I mean, I doubt if things are going to change in 3 weeks, but they don't know that and they can't take a chance. And we don't want to. The rule in radio is usually don't say anything unless you know for sure. So there you go. But that concludes our broadcast for tonight. I want to thank everyone for checking in, and thanks for the people who super chatted us. That we appreciate that, for supporting our channel. And we're going to work on getting our live stream also on Facebook at the same time. So we'll be able to check out comments on 2 different boxes, one from Facebook and maybe Shannon will wear a nice t-shirt again.
Quite like it.
It fits you really well.
I was supposed to get a white one, but we ended up getting...
Yeah. And by the way, if anyone who buys a t-shirt, please send me... Now, keep in mind, if you send us a picture, you're basically giving us permission to use it at the end of our videos. So make sure you're okay with that. Not everyone is. Some people just like being on our channel, and that's cool. And we'll only use that for both 5 to 10 videos. And you'll be at the end of our videos wearing your t-shirt.
We like to showcase.
And if you want to send us a video of you saying, hey, we love rock history music, and you're wearing the t-shirt, we'll put that on as well, because Shannon's on live right now because she got her black one even though it was supposed to be white. I'm not sure why they did that. If anybody has a problem with their orders, let us know as well. No one seems to have had problems. And we ship worldwide, by the way, and it does support our channel because though we do make money on this channel, we're not going to buy a gigantic monster truck with it. It's just not that kind of income. So Anyway, we appreciate all of you. What do we got? Gary from Florida. We love Friday Night Live. Thank you. I wonder if Saturday Night Live are going to sue us. They're going to come after us. Yeah. Are you going to have some wine tonight?
I don't think so.
She had wine the other night. Hadn't had wine, what, 6 months?
Headache, bad headache.
Major headache, like a migraine headache.
I think we'll pass.
Yeah, so she's not having. I will have a little scotch tonight. So I hope you stay safe, everyone. We really appreciate you. Building a YouTube channel is not an easy thing, and I've chosen to do it the hard way, which is doing interviews, which never get as much hits as you go, Lindsey Buckingham just ate a frog, and then, which you wouldn't. But that's the kind of stuff that gets a lot of headlines. And if anyone was watching my channel, they'd go, why are you doing these kind of videos? I choose to do them because I love them, and I love doing interviews. And we're going to continue doing this. And we're thinking about, as we mentioned the last few weeks, continuing to do this even after the COVID-19 thing, which will it ever end?
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So we'll kind of do that. And Shannon's also learning the video stuff for a few of our other channels. I mean, this is kind of my channel, but I like having her here because I can't see the screen, even though I'm nearsighted. That's easier. And I like the company. So
and I always laugh because I'm the one that wears the glasses to see up close. So
well, we've got an iPad here. We've got my iPhone here. We've got my MacBook that we're streaming with right here. And sometimes I can see it, but literally I have to come up like this. And thanks. I so enjoyed the show. Thank you so much. DI Fighter Watcher. I think I'm saying that right. See, I can't see. Thank you so much. But anyway, take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week, hopefully with... where's my sign, Shannon?
The we're done sign?
We're done sign.
I think right the finish button.
Okay, we're going to click there. We're done sign.
Everyone.
Bye. Love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.